There are two things I hate in this world: hippies and pseudo-intellectuals. And today's video covers both of them. Yeah, I could probably fall down another internet rabbit hole and learn everything there is to know about this psychopath and his cult, but luckily I don't have to. This video is called The Controversial Guru Who Wants to Upgrade Civilization.
You can have this whole other experience of yourself that you've never had before. See if you can sense the peace where I come from. Piece that I have access to, and then you can access it yourself.
This has to be the most infuriating guru I've ever seen.
Is this your first Bentinho event?
Yes, I immediately got hooked. I started listening to him every day.
Why do I feel like this woman has been a part of every single cult since the dawn of time? Like, I don't know her, but I know that that's a fact. You know what I mean? She's just like the stock cult follower.
They're not really concepts that you can understand with the mind. When people have like a laughter or crying, it's because they're really feeling the energy that is in between the space of those words.
What is this, fucking Midsommar? Everyone's just lost in the sauce, getting wavy with it?
Things like this start with who will look for answers. People that are suffering.
Spiritual people like this piss me off to no end because everything they say and do is not grounded in reality. I can't help but feel that this is just one giant method to cope, and these people actually are looking for a sense of camaraderie and community, and it is sad, but at the same time, they're falling for dumb pseudo-intellectual cult leaders, so how bad can I actually feel?
The whole reason we even know about you guys is because the media trashed you, right?
Oh yeah.
Why do you think they think you're a cult?
From my perspective, it's like, let's talk. Like, if I'm in a cult, like, I'll admit that I'm in a cult. Like, that's okay. Let's just talk. What is it exactly? Like, because this is adding a ton of value to my life.
The amount of narcissism to believe that you can upgrade a civilization should be a red flag.
We've arrived in the Netherlands. We're here for a sort of spiritual self-help retreat run by a 30-year-old self-styled guru, Bentinho Massaro. He's amassed a pretty big following online on his various platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Massaro claims to have first found spirituality at age 10 and went on to seek enlightenment in his teenage years.
It always starts when you're like 8 years old and you stumble upon a forest in a fever dream and discover an ancient tome, a relic of sorts that you base an entire religion off of. Sound familiar?
Exploring different philosophies, teachers, and methods, until he reached the conclusion that these spiritual authorities were no more enlightened than himself. So he began his own teaching, and today encourages his followers to become enlightened and empowered through his Trinfinity Academy.
He's just selling courses like every other guru. I gotta start selling a course, man. I could be living like Larry right now. Oh, this is how you make YouTube videos.
With a goal of creating what he calls an enlightened civilization by the year 2035. He's gained a global audience who travel thousands of miles to attend his in-person retreats for as much as $2,000 a pop.
I mean... Cult leader starter pack, anyone?
Bentinho's social feed sells a lifestyle we all want. Adventure, success, glamour, wellness.
Within our hearts, we already know who it is we want to be.
Let me ask you guys something. Has your heart ever told you anything? Didn't think so.
He touts himself as a spiritual leader for the next generation.
I love you.
But he's unlike other spiritual gurus.
Fuck your relationships. They mean nothing. Set your standards a little higher. Feel a little bit more miserable about yourself when you're being fucking retarded.
Hell yeah, dude.
And that's meant he hasn't been without his critics. He was recently based in Arizona, where he became mired in a scandal. A since-removed Medium article was published by a writer who attended one of his retreats.
Holy shit, he really is the trifinity of cringe. He's a tater tot, he's Jared Leto's Joker, and he's Hugh Hefner. Sedona, Arizona has been infiltrated by a polyamorous tech bro cult leader with a massive following. Of course this guy's a tech bro. What else did you expect?
Reporting what she described as cult-like practices, including promotion of fringe ideas, like joining forces with our alien counterparts, his purported telekinetic powers, and what she called normalized abuse. We decided to go see Bentinho in his homeland, the Netherlands. We've come here to dip a toe in his world firsthand, to see whether he and his followers are in fact onto something the rest of us are missing out on.
Okay, so we're approaching the venue. It's a castle.
Bro, I am out already.
So we're waiting at the gates of the venue where everyone's checking in. It's kind of a very relaxed, gradual check-in. People are coming in dribs and drabs. The thing doesn't kick off for a couple of hours, but it's a very chill vibe, you know. Everyone arriving is kind of fresh-faced and relaxed. Some people are carrying yoga mats. Everyone's super friendly, like smiling at us, like intense, glowing eyes.
The second I see these people, I am out. With their fake ass smiles. Dude, I don't feel safe. I feel like I should be watching this video through a VPN. Which is why today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. If you guys are anything like me, terminally online connected to the internet, then you're giving your internet service providers and advertisers more opportunities to collect your data and legally sell it. And I don't know about you, but something about that just doesn't sit right with me. ExpressVPN is a simple app on your computer or smartphone that encrypts all of your network data and tunnels it through a secure VPN server, preventing anyone trying to keep tabs on you. A lot of people think they're safe whenever they open up an incognito tab or a private browser. Meanwhile, your internet service provider can still see those hentai sites that you enjoy watching. I use ExpressVPN on all of my devices because it adds that extra layer of protection from anyone trying to snoop around. And honestly, I'm looking up some crazy stuff for these videos these days. My favorite part about ExpressVPN is that by connecting to one of their servers, I'm able to unlock other countries' streaming services, such as Netflix or BBC iPlayer. For example, whenever I connect to the UK, I'm able to watch Rick and Morty on their Netflix. Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like going for a run with your shoes untied. You can do it, but it's a risk I don't want to take. Go to expressvpn.com/Philion to find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN totally free. And thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video.
Why do you like Bentinho? What about it works for you?
When I start listening to him, for example, when I drive to work, my days are more in alignment and things just flow easily and crazy
amazing.
shit starts happening, basically.
The fuck does that mean? My main criticism for a lot of documentaries that cover the weird, wacky stuff is that nobody just says it how it is. What the fuck do you all mean by this?
To make sense of all the hype around Bentinho, I sought out his coordinator for the event, Adrian. Can you give any insight into sort of what's going to be taught this week or what we can expect?
Yeah, this is so hard. I mean,
It's okay, I'm sorry. Why is it hard?
because I've never actually had to explain it to someone before. So the title of the retreat is called Infinity and Absolute Abundance. So one of the main teachings that Bentinho has had for years now is the moving towards the highest understanding that we have of who God is or of the Creator. And so infinity is a way of expressing that. Yeah, it's just a word, right? But we have to use words, and that's like sort of a good word.
Do you see the caliber of intelligence we're dealing with here? Like, this shouldn't come as a surprise to you. Nothing of substance was just said. I'm more confused than when I started.
In general, I was none the wiser as to what I could expect from the retreat. I couldn't seem to get a straight, concrete explanation from anyone I spoke with. Maybe it had to be experienced to be understood. Things are finally about to kick off. We're in the main hallway where the kind of action happens, and now we're just waiting for Bentinho. How are you? So good. Oh, we hug. So you're having a meeting?
Just a little team vibing, you know?
And we're allowed to be there?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you give me any insight into like what I might hear or what kind of themes or topics or anything, or is it a surprise?
Sure. Well, I will be laying out some of that tonight during the session, but right now I'll attend to this.
Yeah.
Because we also have to get...
Yeah, do your thing. We don't want to hold you up.
Sweet.
All right, thank you.
This comment just sums it up. The way that cult leader speaks is me trying to hit the word minimum for my college papers.
I finally met Bentinho himself. He came in flanked by his security guards, but just came straight up to me and was extremely personable, just seemed like a normal dude.
Here's a crazy thought. Why do you need security guards if you're all about love and positivity? He really just sat here for 8 minutes, smiling at the crowd. This is not like a new thing for him too. His most popular video on his channel is him doing the same thing.
Silence is very addictive, huh? Get immersed in it, starts to feel really good, expansive. So one of the most important things to make this whole life sustainable, especially when you start waking up, spiritually speaking, and you start seeing through the illusions of the Matrix.
Is this guy ghostwrite for Andrew Tate? What's going on here?
Both the Matrix as well as the Matrix, the grand illusion of form, of matter, of that which changes, that which comes and goes.
As Bentinho addressed the audience, I whipped out my phone and began frantically taking down as many notes as I could, because I was unfamiliar with much of the jargon and found him almost impossible to follow.
Retracing those steps, those man-made steps, until one finds experientially, instinctively, intuitively, meditatively, the source of one's being, which is transpersonal.
Bentinho had spoken a lot of easy-to-claim New Age buzzwords that weren't in fact all that revolutionary, but it was the way he'd strung those words together that was confusing to me.
Those creatures that make up our body are second-density beings. They're creatures, cellular life forms.
How bad does your life have to be for you to shell out $2,000 just to have a troglodyte murder your brain cells?
Try to find a rainbow and put it in a pot, you'll fail 9 out of 10 times. Does that make sense?
The audacity to even ask the crowd if that made sense.
I have to say, a lot of it went over my head. I didn't find it that accessible, so to me, I have a few questions about that.
I felt like I was back in math class. The numbers looked familiar, but the equations didn't make sense to me. What then was new here? And if nothing new, what were we paying for? So with that in mind, I decided to try to seek some clarity direct from the source, while his bodyguard drove us across the grounds.
You said to me the other day, when you were on stage, you had an idea of how you could possibly show me something practically to help me get some insight.
I don't know about the practical part,
Right.
but when you become extremely present and clear-minded, your energy field, if you will, starts operating like a mirror.
Okay, I'm ready for it. Let's get weird.
Let's get connected.
Get connected.
I know what it is. It's the chin smile. I can't trust anyone who smiles with their chin.
When we are silent, we get to see ourselves, every bit of it. The more silent you become, the more you see. The more you move, the more you navigate, the more you create stuff, the less you tend to see. It will teach you everything you need to know.
Is what you teach, what you offer, is it almost like a form of therapy?
Well, over the years, I've developed, I guess you could say, different levels, because you're always working with individuals.
I swear every guru has the exact same easel with a marker and they draw the dumbest shit ever as if they're cracking the Da Vinci Code.
We're at a different stage of being comfortable with who they truly are versus thinking that they're something they're not. And you could say that the more beginning levels, in a way, deal with therapy, because people need to have that basic understanding that all is well, that it's okay to feel the discomfort. But beyond that, I mean, spirituality goes beyond therapy, for sure.
The world has already changed a lot in recent years. The digital era has made us more aware of our anxieties than ever.
Why are they LARPing as pterodactyls out in the meadow, bro? What is this? If I was this documentarian, I would shake them. What the fuck are you doing?
So where do we turn when regular therapy and medication is losing our trust? And as more people are willing to pay for the wellness fix, it's people like Bentinho who can reap the benefits. Something as basic as shared silence, which need not carry a price tag, is being commodified in a way that can create barriers to simple and healthy practices. Practices like yoga, meditation, and if you're so inclined, ecstatic dance.
Ecstatic dance is an amazing dancing experience. And for that we have 3 basic ingredients. There's no shoes, there's no booze, there's no talking. Which means we will dance 2 hours.
Why is it that the sober people are always the craziest? You know who I'm talking about, the people who are just high on life, positive 24/7. I honestly think it just stems from not having an interesting personality, so you start repeating the exact same word salad and mumbo jumbo that you hear at these events.
I'm still trying. I'm still wide open, trying to understand what this is all about. Today, I listened to more of Bentinho's talk. I grasp little bits, but I still don't find it very accessible, which is disappointing.
I wonder why. It's almost as if being cryptic is part of the sales pitch.
So we're on our way to breakfast, which every day is silent. So that's going to be pretty nice, I hope. Probably not that practical if you have kids or whatever, but I'm looking forward to it.
What happens if you talk, though? Does everyone just simultaneously crank their neck to stare at you?
Where should I sit?
Everyone's eating breakfast, you just have a mean stomachache, you start shitting your brains out. Benito snipes you from the watchtower. That's what goes through my mind when I see this.
While I can appreciate the value of a bit of quiet me time, I was having trouble figuring out what, apart from his lectures, sets this apart from the plethora of meditative practices available to us anywhere in the world. Is this just a new take on a not-so-new thing?
The older I get, I'm starting to realize that the more you think about thinking will just drive you mad. I don't think it's productive.
So there's a water fight happening to my right and a volleyball game to my left. Wow, what fun. It looks so fun, right? Do you play this every day?
No.
Whose idea was it?
Some other volunteers. I just said, let's fill some water balloons, and then we ran out there.
Sex cult.
Point of view on it is that everyone should throw their points of view away. Ultimately, I understand this is a lot to ask of people, but throw your points of view away as much as you can.
But then I'll just end up like you.
When you're automatically catering to a group of people who are, in theory, more vulnerable, that's a lot of responsibility for you.
It's one of the reasons why I'm shifting out of the bigger retreats. There are people that are vulnerable that come into the retreats. Not all of them can be recognized or filtered out. I do experience greater peace of mind when there's 20 people, and I can talk to each one of them, and I can be accountable for each one of them.
The language he uses is so predatory. I like a nice small circle so I can influence them more. I can really tap in and take advantage of their need for some sort of collective feeling.
You feel slightly vulnerable as a teacher giving those bigger events. There's a sense of vulnerability there. The scientific community is far from scientific, in my opinion. I'm scientific, but that's my opinion.
I love when my guru denounces science and empirical data.
And many teachers have spoken about this all over the world, in all ages of humanity.
One day I was actually just kind of in my room, sitting there, and I just had this really strong urge to type in universe into YouTube. So I did. And Bentinho's Parallel Realities video came up.
This guy has a girlfriend, man. Blink twice if you need help.
I couldn't understand a word he was saying. I had no spiritual context.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, I had no spiritual context, but I just had a feeling to just go deeper, just keep going.
Was this something you were doing on your own, or is it like you had a couple of friends who were also,
No, it was just me. Yeah, it was a very, very strong desire to, because I knew I was like, there must be a formula for happiness. We're supposed to be happy, so what is this?
Bro, imagine thinking there's a formula to happiness, and this guy is the answer.
What is the guy like at home? Give us some insight.
So, yeah, we like to go to the movies.
Do you guys have a favorite movie, TV show or something that you're super into? Or
No, but we do quite a bit of superhero movies.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's fun to immerse ourselves in that. And
Oh, great. Marvel movies. Oh, I'm gonna save the day in my spandex.
experience how there's soft disclosure happening of things within the government, technologies perhaps that are not being shared with everyone, but they will share them in these amazing movies.
I mean, she's got a point. There is alien technology in these Marvel movies that the government is hiding from us.
And plant the ideas in people's heads.
so you think there are predictions happening in these superhero movies?
Well, not predictions, but I'm saying that you can see subtle hinting to a more magical type of existence.
Did you know you can stop the rain?
What?
Try it.
How?
It's intended. It's not apart from your consciousness.
Shut the f up.
Should we both try and stop the rain?
Let's do it.
Okay. What am I'm going to just think.
Just visualize a clear sky, for
Okay.
example, and the absence of
Can I close my eyes? Okay.
Be absolutely confident that it has stopped raining in that reality.
There just needs to be a middle-aged, pissed-off, overweight, greasy New York Italian man that strolls into this set, this interview, that just says, "The fuck's the matter with you, eh?" I just feel like that would snap him back to reality really quick.
Despite our combined efforts, the rain prevailed.
Not bad, not bad.
It's trying to stop. Okay, 2035 is your stated goal on your website for
That's when singularity will happen.
upgraded civilization. Why 2035?
That's my estimation of when we will have changed so much in all of our levels of our society that one could look back from that point onwards approximately and say we were a changed civilization by then and there was no going back.
Someone in the media has labeled you a cult. It's really hard to ditch that label. How do you feel about being called a cult?
We are a cult. We are a curious, understanding, loving tribe.
I mean, in terms of the definition of cult as something problematic.
I've never experienced cults, so
Yeah, no shit, buddy, because you run one.
after some of those other people painting that picture, I started doing a little bit more research, just learning about it. Like, why is this such a big deal to people? Why do they label it a cult so quickly? What do they even mean?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with cults, so I had to do a little bit of Googling.
They label it a cult, it's because they haven't really experienced the benefit. They see it from the outside in, and it reminds them of things that they fear or are taught to fear. So yeah, I don't know how to answer that question.
If you grow, you're going to have more and more fingers pointing at you, being like, this is elitist and, you know, it's exclusive. Is there a way that you can make it more accessible for more people?
The whole idea is how to make it more accessible.
How about with charge less? But then that would hit your ego because you're a cult leader. So you have to fake perceived value by making the ticket to one of these events so high.
So the first 3 years of teaching, I did everything for free, completely donation-based.
Wow.
But you brought up a good point, which is people perceive that they can't do it, right? They're in a state where I'm in the office, I only have so much money to spend, I can't even go on vacation, I don't have the money to do this. And that's one of the most tugging things on my heart, so to speak. It's like, okay, how can we address that?
Imagine gaslighting people into attending one of your events. They got $2,000 to their name, and you're telling them about having an abundance mindset and manifesting the $2,000 to then come to listen to you speak.
That's exactly what we teach, is how to vibrationally upgrade your consciousness and your understanding and how you apply yourself to life to where you can attract those resources to do what you want to do. And you're not stuck. It is by choice that you're in that job. It's by choice that you have the life you have. And knowing that and doing some of the work, you can change it.
At a moment in human history where things feel more dysfunctional than ever, it can be tempting to want to throw the whole world away and start over. The like-minded spiritual seekers I met here seem to thrive off the more obscure, intangible elements of Bentinho's teachings. With reality such a disappointment, the further away from it Bentinho goes, they seem ready to follow and pay for.
What did I say? It's an escape from reality, a method to cope, because these people are weak. Yeah, that's right. I could be a cult leader too.